I'm going to go back to the United States and say, we've got to catch up. Healthy China is at least 5 or 10 years ahead of us because there is more use of Chinese medicine in the world than other pharmaceuticals combined. So Chinese medicine is going to play a very important role along with Western medicine as we move forward in the whole area of lifestyle medicine. There are 100 different kinds of sleep disturbances, and we're now only beginning to understand the powerful negative role of not having adequate sleep. 40 to 60% of all hypertension is related to inadequate sleep. If we stand together and have great passion for this and base it on good scientific information and grassroots commitment, together we will change the world. Good morning. I live in Boston, Massachusetts, and I was very surprised to see that it's 30 degrees warmer here. It's quite remarkable. I want to first of all, thank all the honored guests for coming here and the very enthusiastic audience. It's just wonderful to hear about Healthy China and perhaps to play a role in it. I'm honored to have that opportunity. I want to tell you something that very few people know about me. I'm a cardiologist. I started my career as an invasive cardiologist, and I decided that I needed to do something more than that, and that's why I started in the area of lifestyle medicine. But what most people don't know about me is that for 6 years before going to medical school, I built and ran the Harvard Ceramics Studio. And most people who are not professional ceramics experts don't know that the height of ceramics in the world came from China. Chinese potters, 1,000 years before Europeans figured out how to get high temperatures and make porcelain. And those still stand as the height of all ceramics in the world to this day. And that began my lifelong love of Chinese culture. Congratulations and best wishes to all participants in the 3rd annual China Healthy Lifestyle Medicine Conference, sponsored by Fuwei Hospital, Center for Lifestyle Medicine. I am honored to deliver this speech, and I have great admiration for Dr. Hu, my friend, and the team at the Fuwei Hospital, and other distinguished members of the government and sport and insurance and high tech, all of whom are here. It's going to take a combined effort to make this happen. There is an enormous opportunity to develop the field of lifestyle medicine and its multiple benefits, not only in China, but throughout the world. The World Health Organization has estimated that 71% of all mortality worldwide comes from non-communicable diseases. The underlying risk factors for those diseases, as other speakers have talked about, include lack of physical activity, obesity, poor nutritional habits, cigarette smoking and other uses of tobacco, excessive alcohol consumption, and many other things. Many of these risk factors are prevalent in China and, of course, in the United States as well. And many of these risk factors could be ameliorated with the use of lifestyle medicine modalities to bring enormous benefit to the health of people in China. I'm going to go back to the United States and say, we've got to catch up. Healthy China is at least 5 or 10 years ahead of us. Now, that's not to say that you have it solved, but the challenges are great, and to focus on Healthy China is a very, very essential thing. Let me talk a little bit about my own personal background. I'm a board-certified cardiologist, and as the introduction said, I am the director of the Rippe Lifestyle Institute, and a professor of medicine at the University of Massachusetts Chan Medical School. Used to be called the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and then the Chan family donated $200 million and renamed the school. They're Chinese developers. I trained at Harvard College, followed by Harvard Medical School, and then the Massachusetts General Hospital. Many people have called this sequence of training the Harvard Life Program. So my team and I at Rippe Lifestyle Institute have published a variety of things. We've published over 500 academic articles. I have personally written or edited 60 books, including my lifestyle medicine textbook, and I am just thrilled I know that the Fuwei Hospital has purchased a long time ago, a few years ago, the Chinese translation rights, and the distinguished guests in the first two rows all have copies of my lifestyle medicine textbook. I also should mention that I'm the senior author on the leading intensive care textbook in our country. Many of you in this audience may have trained using that book. It's called Irwin and Rippe's Intensive Care. It's in the 9th edition, just came out this year. And this book grew out of my background as an intensive and invasive cardiologist. I should also mention that 2 weeks ago, in the prestigious Journal of the American Medical Association, was a wonderful study, and the lead author may even be in this audience, Dr. Yuzhen Yang from the Fuwei Hospital and the National Center for Cardiovascular Disease. And it was the first major randomized controlled trial to demonstrate the high effectiveness of a traditional Chinese medicine. And that's important because there is more use of Chinese medicine in the world than other pharmaceuticals combined. So Chinese medicine is going to play a very important role along with Western medicine as we move forward in the whole area of lifestyle medicine. The first edition of my lifestyle medicine textbook was published in 1999. And in that book, I had the honor of naming the field lifestyle medicine. Other people had studied physical activity and nutrition and so forth, but none had put it together and called it lifestyle medicine. When the Journal of the American Medical Association reviewed this book, they said it should be on the bookshelf of every doctor in the world. I'm very honored to have that. Based on this content, I was honored 2 days ago to be named this year's Trailblazer at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Let me turn to a brief history of lifestyle medicine. There'd be no way that you would know this, but if you look over on the right-hand side of this, there's a picture of me and actually in the United States, a very famous football player, Joe Montana. And Joe Montana had high blood pressure. So I traveled around with him telling people all the things they could do to lower their risk of high blood pressure. This is the textbook that is on in the first two rows is the Chinese translation of my lifestyle medicine textbook. And I'm happy to tell you that I believe it's next month it will become widely available in China. But the honored guests in the first two rows actually get the first few copies of that book. I'm just honored that it's available now in China. Literally thousands of studies demonstrate that regular physical activity, healthy nutrition, weight management, and avoidance of tobacco products, as well as adequate sleep, stress reduction, and positive connections with other human beings all contribute to lowering the risk of chronic disease. And the idea with my textbook and the field of lifestyle medicine was to bring all of these important topics together in one area so that the medical professionals could learn from that. Now, I have also studied a great deal of physical activity. My research laboratory was credited with bringing the research base behind walking to the United States, and that has grown exponentially. But we've also studied weight management and proper nutrition. As I mentioned, in addition to the textbook, the picture there, I also am the editor-in-chief of the only peer-reviewed journal in lifestyle medicine, the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, and I hope there will be an opportunity to do some sort of a peer-reviewed journal in this area in China It's very important in terms of educating the physician community. Over 21,000 people subscribe to this journal, and last year we had over 200,000 downloads of full text. So I hope there is an opportunity for us to continue this work, maybe with a Chinese journal of lifestyle medicine. I also serve as the editor, series editor for a series of smaller books. My big textbook is very expensive. It's just the economics of textbooks. In the United States, if you want to buy that book, it's $350. It's very expensive, and beginners probably do not have that kind of money. And so I decided I would do a series of smaller books. Some of these are mine, some are from other experts. But I would like to point out the second book across there I actually wrote, and I will make sure that Dr. Hu and Dr. Feng get copies of it. It's the Integrating Lifestyle Medicine into Cardiovascular Disease. I should mention that while I also run my own laboratory, I'm also a professor at the UMass Chan Medical School. And because of my background training, we are now in discussions with my alma mater, Harvard Medical School, about combining research efforts between UMass Chan Medical School and Harvard Medical School. Now, this is very important in China because over 40% of deaths in China come from cardiovascular disease, as Dr. Hu has mentioned, and lifestyle medicine can play a prominent role in reducing this problem. I want to just cite one of many studies. There are two big studies that came out of the Harvard School of Public Health. One was called the Nurses' Health Study, and one was called the Medical Professionals Study. The Nurses' Health Study has followed over 120,000 nurses for 20 years. And the Health Professionals Study has followed male physicians, about 50,000 of them, also for 20 years. And the findings are dramatic. If individuals follow the 5 core principles of lifestyle medicine, namely increased physical activity, proper nutrition, weight management, not smoking, the Diabetes Prevention Project in the United States, a big NIH-funded study, showed that individuals who have diabetes, pre-diabetes, in other words, they have an elevated glucose, if they followed lifestyle medicine principles, lost weight, ate better, more physical activity, could lower the risk of their pre-diabetes turning into diabetes by 58%. 58% reduction of diabetes. This is important in China because 11% of the population in China have diabetes. So there's power in all of these lifestyle medicine issues. Weight management is also very important and an increasing problem, as Dr. Hu has mentioned, in China. In 1980, 1% of the Chinese population was obese. So that's the steep part of the curve. Now, you can get more benefit by going way out further if you want to exercise an hour a day or 2 hours a day if you're a marathon runner. Actually, this morning, I was over in the fitness center, and I'm just another reason to love Chinese culture. It's a beautiful fitness center. I'd highly recommend if you're staying at the hotel. And to get there, you have to pass through these beautiful gardens. It's something I've always admired about Chinese culture is the high emphasis on beauty and excellence. And the swimming pool here is the most beautiful swimming pool I've ever seen. So if you haven't visited the fitness center, please think about that. And there's a steep early curve. If you only do 30 minutes a week, not every other day, 30 minutes a week, you lower your risk of heart disease by 20%. Isn't that amazing? You know, what we have to do is we have to get people off the couch. We have to say, it doesn't take a lot of exercise, but the benefits are very significant. And just to tell you how significant those benefits are, the Centers for Disease Control a few years ago compared sedentary people in the United States to physically active people. And in the United States, only 25% of people are physically active. So 75% of people are inactive. And the CDC showed that if you choose to be inactive, you are accepting the same risk of heart disease as if you smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. So in inactivity, We have a risk factor as significant as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day and 6 times as prevalent. So we really need to focus worldwide, including in China, on increasing physical activity. 40% of all heart disease is related to inadequate sleep. There are 100 different kinds of sleep disturbances, and we're now only beginning to understand the powerful negative role of not having adequate sleep. 40 to 60% of all hypertension is related to inadequate sleep. And then maybe one that may surprise you is the relationship with other people. We tend to not recognize how important the relationship is with other people. But a new book came out from the Surgeon General of the United States that showed that 25% of people in the United States, and I don't know the statistics in China, are considered lonely. They don't have other people that they can talk to, they don't relate. And one of the powers of Chinese culture historically has been the communal nature of China, and there's a wonderful power to build on that. Of course, smoking cessation has been handled by other people. It's a very significant problem, and it remains a problem, unfortunately, in China. 50% of males in China smoke. 50%. 1 in 2 smoke. How many Chinese women smoke? Do any of you here know a woman who smokes? Raise your hand if you know a woman in China who smokes. Nobody does. And that's because 2% of Chinese women smoke. So cigarette smoking in men is 25 times as likely as in women. So women, pay attention. In the United States, women eventually caught up with men, and it was a really bad thing to happen. But in China, the men need to take the lead from women and cut down on the smoking. Well, where are we going in the future? One of the excitements for me is to be associated with the world's largest cardiovascular hospital, the Fuwei Hospital. And there is, as other speakers have mentioned, a very important role for the emerging technologies. Internet, AI, big data. And let me just say in closing that the world is suffering from a pandemic of non-communicable diseases, which can be effectively combated by the use of various modalities in lifestyle medicine. And I applaud the vision, not only of Fuwei Hospital and Dr. Hu, my friend, but some distinguished speakers from the government and the governmental agencies who have made some of this effort so important in China. It's really quite remarkable and quite inspiring. And I will look forward to my team at Rippe Lifestyle Institute, working in collaboration with my colleagues at UMass Chan Medical School and in the future, Harvard Medical School, to assist Fuwei Hospital and its Center for Lifestyle Medicine in combating the major health problems that we have faced not only in China but around the world. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of these comments with you and for helping me understand and become inspired by what's already happening in China. It's only the very beginning. And I can tell you now that this is a world that we need to change. And I am committed personally, along with the medical schools that I'm involved in combating the problem that people are doing for themselves by their poor lifestyle habits. If we stand together and have great passion for this and base it on good scientific information and grassroots commitment, together we will change the world. Thank you.